Okay, so it's 5:30, and I'll call the Planning Commission meeting to order for March the 18th, 2026. Ms. Martinez, will you call roll, please?
Madam Chair Salazar Garza.
Here.
Vice Chairman Munoz is absent at the moment. Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Hedrick. Here. Commissioner Budd. Here. Commissioner Cantu. Here. Commissioner Teichelman. Here. Commissioner Esparza.
Our mics are...
Yeah, they're having difficulty with them.
I'm here.
Yeah, so we can just talk loud. Commissioner Jackson.
Okay.
We have a quorum present to conduct the meeting.
Thank you. So at this time, I'll go ahead and recess the Planning Commission meeting and convene to the Beach Dune Committee meeting. And Ms. Martinez, will you call roll?
Yes, ma'am. So we have Vice Chairman Munoz is still absent at the moment. Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Hedrick.
Here.
Commissioner Budd.
Here.
Commissioner Cantu.
Here.
Commissioner Teichelman.
Here.
Commissioner Esparza.
Here.
And Commissioner Jackson.
Here.
We have a quorum present to conduct the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Could you read us the rules for public comment for the Beach Dune Committee meeting, please?
The public is invited to speak on any agenda item and any other items that pertain to the Beach Dune Committee. Comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Thank you. So at this time, I'll go ahead and open up the public comment and ask anyone if they'd like to come and speak on anything other than tonight's Beach Dune Committee meeting agenda. You may come up and speak. Yes, but you also have an opportunity to speak when the agenda item comes up, okay? This is just for the public comment, okay? So if I have none, then I'll go ahead and open up close the public comment and move on to the approval of absences for Chairman York and Commissioner Mandel for May the 14th, 2025 on the Beach Dune Committee meeting.
I move that we approve the absences for Chairman York and Commissioner Mandel, even though both of them are no longer on the commission anymore.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Moving on to the approval of minutes for the Beach Dune Committee.
I'll move that we approve the minutes from our last Beach Dune Committee meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Moving on to the consent public hearing discussion and possible actions A and B.
All right, so I'll be speaking louder as well. So on tonight's agenda, we have 2 items, starting with item 2, which is case number BD 9109, which is by the City of Corpus Christi as the applicant. The request is for a beachfront construction certificate for the construction of a new beach access road. And what I have before you on the screen is just a quick presentation to go through it. For the sake of new members on the commission, the purpose of the Beach Dune Committee, one of the few times that this board or aspect of the Planning Commission will meet, are to hear cases that are encroaching within a certain boundary as you approach what's called the line of vegetation. So within our mapping system and within the requirements of the General Land Office as well as the municipal code, as you hit certain thresholds on the seaside of Gulf of Mexico, as you approach that line of vegetation, which is the most leading edge of any vegetation that is growing right behind the beach, you then have a series of markers. As you hit 200 feet, that is where this board meets and determines if that encroachment is consistent with the rules of the General Land Office regarding access management. As you approach further, you hit a 1,000-foot line, and that is for dune protection. That's where Oasis County will meet with their Beach Management Access Committee and determine, is there a negative impact? Oh, great, here the mic came back on. Negative impact to any sand dunes. And then as you move further to 361, that is the furthest boundary, and that is for a beachfront construction certificate. Because this section is going all the way to almost to the shoreline, that is why it is being heard tonight by the Beach Dune Committee hat of your 3 hats as Planning Commission. So again, moving forward, if this will There we go. Construction activities are within 1,000 feet landward of mean high tide line or seaward side of the first public road, which is again that furthest boundary. To give you a quick overview of the BCC process, it goes through an application, review and comment by the Texas General Land Office. We then take those comments, produce a staff report, and present it to the board for their determination. On these two cases, we are still awaiting comments from the GLO, and I'll explain how that comes into play. Because this is a city project, so we want to keep it as most expedited as possible. So the concurrent beach dune committee, which is this board, is going to hear cases that are seaward of the erosion line area, that magic 200-foot line, as on bullet point 4, that is within 200 feet of the line of vegetation. Within our staff report, it lists the amount of disturbance. Things that the General Land Office looks at are any critical dune structures that may be impacted, the amount of soil that is disturbed, and then, of course, if any means of access to the beach are impeded. In this case, you're getting a new access point to the beach, so it's quite the opposite effect. When it comes to staff analysis, after receiving various feedback and preliminary discussions with the General Land Office, staff has determined that we are recommending a conditional approval. So I won't bore you with the details. That's all listed in the staff report, but ultimately, after receiving positive feedback from the county, so that means they were obtaining a dune protection permit, our compliance with the municipal code regarding beach construction certificates is good. The third part is receiving the final comments from the General Land Office. Now, those are typically going to look at whether or not they're compliant with our code. Fortunately, as part of the dune protection permit, the GLO has already had an opportunity to review these documents. So because they got a positive thumbs up from the county, that is the first green light. Second green light is more than likely we're going to receive the exact same comments from the General Land Office on this go around, which means that A, the plans have not changed since the dune protection permit was offered or exchanged, and 2, that the plans are consistent with access management standards that are listed in municipal code, which again is a very fancy way of saying we're not impeding the ability for folks to travel on the beach. So that being said, staff is recommending conditional approval, and that is pending receiving the comments from the General Land Office on this go around of the BCC, and that those comments will be satisfied prior to the city issuing the beachfront construction certificate. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Commissioners, do we have any questions for staff on items 2 and 3? I'm sorry, just 2, sorry.
I'll take an approval for number 3 if you'd like.
Yes, Commissioner, do you have any questions for staff on number 2? If not, then I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. Thank you, Andrew. Public hearing for the public to come and speak on item 2. Yes, come right up. Please state your name and city you live in.
Hello, I'm Samara Lineberger, and I am the president of the Homeowners Association for Mustang Island Estates, which is the street that's most affected by this access road. I don't know if the map that was up there on the screen, you could see it, but it's right up against where we're building our home. And it is also going to be impacting, based on what I can see and what's on the maps, almost the dunes that are right there next to us is protecting our home right now. And so this has been a big concern of ours. We did talk about this at the dune permit meeting, and we were told that we would have many opportunities to protest it. But from what I've understand and learned yesterday in talking to Michelle Leslie at the GLO, that I don't know that this body at this time can disapprove the project. I'm not against public safety. I'm all about public safety, and I don't have a problem with public access. And there are pros and cons to having a road that will keep my visibility open, that will keep my view open. But my biggest concern is public safety, and it's the concern, the impact on these dunes. The dunes in that area, it's hitting 2 dunes is what it looks like, 2 rows of dunes. And they are some of the largest on the island. And this road was originally platted about 900 feet south. And so the concern that we had was why it was shifted. And that's already been analyzed from the standpoint of the GLO looking at this particular site. There's never been an analysis of where is the best place for Corpus Christi for this beach access road. It's more been an analysis of the developer request to move the road to that side, offering some money, great, some taxpayer relief, and then putting that road at this location and seeing if it's feasible. Is it feasible? Not is it better? Is it a better location for the whole island for Corpus Christi to put it 900 feet south where the dunes were only about 9 feet tall instead of taking down 20 feet dunes? You know, when Hurricane Harvey hit many years ago, one of the few houses that didn't get damaged was the one sole house on our street at that time. And was it because we had such great dunes? And when we purchased the property, that's what we were looking at. So it is what it is. You know, if the road's going to come in and there's nothing this committee can do, then all I can do is ask the committee to consider some provisions to make sure that if you do issue this certificate, that you put in guidelines and things that protect us. For example, when is this going to be built? Is it going to be built during hurricane season? Hope not. That you take down the dunes right before, and we're waiting there in the middle of construction, and we're more vulnerable at that time. We're just about to finish our house, so yes, I do have a personal interest in this. But, you know, is there some other provisions, like how long is this project going to take? Is there a way to require a certain, you know, be done in an expedited manner? You know, like I said, what season? Things that can be put in place because we are vulnerable and we had great protection. It was a great location on the island, and now it's scary. It's a bit scary. So, you know, I'm not gonna, I understand there's only a certain amount of things that can happen at this stage, but I just ask that you add safety provisions and also maybe a provision in the certificate that has the project team get in touch with us.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to come speak on item 2? If not, then I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and entertain a motion or further discussion for item 2.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, Andrew.
Yes. Yes, sir.
As an insurance agent, 40-plus years, flooding is always a big concern of mine. So I wanted to make certain that the city has done, or they will do, or have they done the proper study to make sure that they're going to minimize any possible, you know, additional flooding by opening this road?
Well, I can tell you that the original location was on the area of wetlands, which causing more fill to compensate and mitigate for wetlands would actually reduce the amount of area that could receive waters. So this would be the more appropriate location to have the beach access road. I know we have a few folks from engineering department here if we need to get into the technicals, but from what I was led to believe is that this is the prime location to place this road with the most minimal impact.
Okay, thank you.
Is this a road on the UTP, or is this just one that's wanting to get added?
This beach access road, I believe, is on the roadway master plan.
Any other questions? Then I'll,
Is there an existing plan for the beach access roads that are in existence right now? Are there preparations for hurricanes, for storm surge considerations? Do we pile sand on those as it is? Or, I mean, I know that we did that during COVID, but.
I would have to touch base with our emergency management department if they do some type of shoring up in the event of a hurricane. Typically, when you have tidal surge, the sand is going to move on its own. And we've had to go back and resurvey the line of vegetation, especially after Harvey and most recently Hannah and the latest hurricane event where we were just barely brushed, where we lost about 20 feet of dune, and that was not even a direct impact. But
right.
That's where it requires by state law that we go back and resurvey to determine if the dune lines have moved.
okay. Any other questions for staff? If not, then I'll Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Moving on to public hearing, beachfront construction certificate for a property located at or near 7213 State Highway 36. Andrew?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is case BD 8951, Mustang Island LLC, which is located indeed along State Highway 361 at 7213. This is also a large-scale beachfront construction certificate request for a dune walkover. So as you can see, as I mentioned on the previous case, where every time a construction activity triggers one of these lines, it increases the amount of review and time, and in this case, the board that must review the application. In this case, it is crossing all the way to the shoreline, as this is I should say the line of vegetation, I'm sorry, not the shoreline, line of vegetation by a dune walkover, which are the traditional decks and docks that you see from various developments to access the beach itself. So here are a few maps to show you how the dune walkover, which is roughly in the center of the screen, is going to traverse from a future cul-de-sac that will be adjacent to residential units, meander through the dunes, and to access that line of vegetation with a dune walkover. Of the 42 notices mailed out, we received 0 in favor and 0 in opposition. And based on the request, and as I mentioned with the previous case, this case too has gone to the Beach Access Management Committee of Nueces County, received a dune protection permit that is now being heard by this board for its corresponding beachfront construction certificate. Staff recommends approval. And if there are any questions, be happy to address them.
Thank you, Andrew. Staff, do we have any questions commissioners, do we have any questions for staff?
Andrew, this case has been before us in different shapes or forms about 4 different times. Can you just give a quick refresher on what's already been approved and what's already happened?
Sure.
So everybody's on the same page?
Great question, but thank you for bringing it up. So to go back to those maps, this is part of a larger development called Mustang Island. It was originally platted under, for the life of me, the name is escaping me, but it's a master preliminary plat that was a Waterbury Park that was approved. They are now moving forward through the various stages of beachfront construction certificates. How this board will see potential BCCs that they will have to be reviewed are the phasing, meaning as we get through first this initial BCC to allow the dune walkover, there was a PUD that was approved that came through this board also for the overall development. Now is the work of having the final plats done and each BCC as each phase is completed. So for instance, for example, if I choose to build a convenience store or a hotel along one of these tracks, that construction has its own beachfront construction certificate attached. And because it's closer to State Highway 361, it will not have to come before this board. Only if they're getting within that 200-foot line, which fortunately not. If they're within the 1,000 feet, for future residences, that will have to go to Nueces County for what we call the BMAC, the Beach Management Advisory Committee. So as each development phase occurs, there will be a corresponding beachfront construction certificate. No different than pulling a building permit. If I'm building 10 buildings, each building will have its own permit rather than a master one. But that is where we are today and how it's gone through the various stages of development.
So just to be clear, the property is already zoned, it's already able to be developed into what it wants to do according to this plan. We're just essentially approving or denying the access.
The access for the dune walkover.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question. Can we have the map back up again? I have to look back behind me. I don't have eyes good enough for this. The beach walkover, is this going to be the size? We had talked about this before about the width of the walkover.
Correct.
Can we go into that a bit to talk a little bit about what the width is? The width just going to be a golf cart width, or is it going to be?
It's roughly, I believe, 8 feet wide, was it the last plan set that I personally reviewed? That is where the GLO has to review it to make a determination of, is there mitigation of grasses? How it weaves through the dune structures is how we avoid impacting critical dunes. So that's why it's not the true shortest point is a straight line. It has to meander and weave to avoid impacting those dunes.
I think on a couple of the other ones that we've come across here, is the width, is it wide enough for pedestrians to be able to access it with golf carts, or is it only wide enough for just the golf?
Depending on the dunes that are impacted, the GLO signs off at times, narrowing at certain points to where you allow a golf cart and a person to walk side by side or be able to traverse without any issues. And then you will have certain areas where it'll widen to allow the two carts to pass themselves. So it'll come down to the plan set. What this board is looking at is purely access. Can they access the beach and just determine that there is not a negative impact of restricting access?
Okay. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Okay. If not, then I'll entertain a motion.
Public hearing.
I'm sorry. At this time, I'll go ahead and open up the public comment on item number 3. If anybody would like to come and speak. If not, then I'll go ahead and close the public comment for item number 3 and now entertain a motion. Or further discussion.
I recommend we approve, per this motion here, to be able to approve according to staff direction. I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Moving on to Director's Report and future agenda items.
Well, my mic is not clicking on, but Director's Report, the only items I have is for the Planning Commission side. I'll hold my comment.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and adjourn. I'll adjourn the Beach Dune Committee and reconvene the Planning Commission meeting. And ask Ms. Martinez if she could read the rules for public comment.
Citizens will be allowed to attend and make public comments in person at the City Planning Commission meeting. The public is invited to speak on any agenda item and any other item that pertains to the Planning Commission. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. If you choose to speak during this period, you will not be allowed to speak again when the specified item is being considered in order of the agenda.
Thank you. So at this time, I'll go ahead and open up the public comment and ask anyone if they'd like to come and speak on anything other than tonight's agenda. Please come forward. If not, then I'll go ahead and close the public comment and move on to the approval of absences, which we had none, and move on to the approval of minutes for March 4th, 2026.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes from March 4th, 2026.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Moving on to consent public hearing discussion, possible actions for items C and D.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To read into tonight, for the record, Andrew Demas with Development Services, reading into tonight's consent agenda, beginning with item 5 under plats. So we have item 5, a replat for Gardendale subdivision. Item 6, a replat for Padre Island, Corpus Christi, Section 4. Item 7, a final plat for London Village, Section 1. And item 8, a replat of Bent Tree Unit 2. Staff and the Technical Review Committee have reviewed the listed plats and determined that they meet the requirements of both the Texas Local Government Code as well as the Unified Development Code. Staff recommends approval. Under letter D, plat time extensions, we have 2 items. Item number 9, a final plat for Shannon Estates Unit 13, and item 10, final plat for Bridges Mill Village Unit 3. Staff has reviewed the requests for the time extension and recommended denial of those time extensions. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Okay. Commissioners, do we have any questions for staff on items 5 through 10?
For the denial? Andrew, what was the reason for the denial?
The purpose of the denial is that there has not been forward progress on either of the time extension requests. So for the Bridges Mill, this would be year 4, and they're requesting the 4th time extension. For the other, it is the 3rd time extension.
And do these extensions, are they the 12 months?
They are 12 months, yes, ma'am. We have officially moved out of all the ones that were left behind that used to be 6-month, and we are now completely on to the year ones. So it's been a bit of time.
And there hasn't been any progress on either one of them?
Correct.
Okay.
Did the applicant provide reasoning or?
Yes, he is in attendance, and the reasoning we were given is financial constraints.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, then I'll go ahead and open up the public comment for items 5 through 10. If anybody would like to come and speak on any one of those items, please come forward. Yes. Please state your name and the city for record.
All right. Mike Mostagasi, good afternoon, council members. I'm talking about the Shannon Estates and the, what's the other one? Bridges Mill subdivision. So we're requesting a final extension on this one. We're actively moving forward. We have a signed contract with Max Construction on the Shannon Estates, and it's actually going to start hopefully within the next 2 weeks. I did speak with Andrew earlier, and he said to talk to Bria to make sure Mr. Welsh has, made the last changes. Bria said that he told Rick, or she told Rick, that you didn't have to make any other changes. And then on the other one, if we don't get an extension granted, we're prepared to go ahead and begin, within the next month, which is the Bridges Mill. Our goal is to move forward with both projects, and hopefully we can get them started very shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. If not, then I'll go ahead and close the public comment and ask for entertain a motion or further discussion with staff.
Can I suggest that we do the plat extension separately?
Sure.
So I'll make a motion that we approve items 5 through 8 as presented by staff.
I'll second.
Okay, at this time, I have a motion and a second to approve items 5 through 8. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Now we'll go ahead and put the discussion on items 9 and 10 on the time extensions.
So the reason why I recommended breaking these up is because of my previous public statement that anything beyond 3 one-year extensions that, it really needs some pretty good, decent explanation. So I am inclined to make a motion separately on item number 9, if you would be okay with that.
Well, then we'll go ahead and just, I guess we'll just do number 9, and then we can go on to 10.
Right.
Nine was the 3rd and 10 was the 4th, is that correct?
4th, right.
So right now, we'll go ahead and we'll just put the discussion on item number 9 separately, and then we'll move on to item 10. Okay, so at number 9, item number 9,
I'd like to make a motion that we approve item number 9 in contradiction to staff's recommendation.
Is that the one he's starting next month?
That's the one that's only requesting a third extension.
Now, are we requesting another full year extension on that, or is it
That's all you can do.
understood?
Yeah, there's no way to cap it at.
so item number 9 this is its 3rd extension,
Sorry, this is the 3rd request.
the 3rd request.
2 granted, this
Oh,
would be the
3rd request.
Okay, the 3rd request, got it.
This will be the 3rd.
Okay, so that's, okay. So this is the 3rd request, yeah, so you made a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the request for an extension for item number 9, Shannon Estates, Unit 13.
Okay.
I have one question first. So if we grant the extension, then the current, because that one already has PI plans that are approved?
Correct, from 2024.
So if we approve it, then they can start with those PI plans without having to make any updates to them.
Correct.
And if we don't, if we deny it, then they have to update the PI plans to
If-
current standards.
Or break ground by May 14th, which is the date of expiration.
Oh,
So this one right now expires May 14th.
But both plots, both time extensions tonight expire on May 14th. So whether you approve or deny, that would buy more time that the PIs would stay alive, because that's the way the code measures it. So long as the plot is alive, the PIs remain also compliant. If the plot expires, so for the other item, if the plot expires, then they do not break ground by May 14th, then the process would need to start over again. New plot submittal, new PI submittal, up to the most current code.
And this 1.9 already has PIs.
Both have approved PIs.
Both do, okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Thank you.
So right now I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Moving on to item number 10. Commissioners, do we have any questions for staff on this? Because we already had open comment.
They're asking for a fourth one on this one, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm on the same boat as Commissioner Miller about this. It's the third, after 3 times, that's a bit too much in my opinion. So I'm going to make a motion to be able to deny that extension.
Which one is that one? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, we have already spoken, sorry. I have a motion to deny or to approve staff's approval on item 10. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to deny the item number 10 as staff's approval, as staff's recommendation, sorry.
As presented by staff.
As presented by staff. Okay, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Moving on to public hearing discussion and possible action E. That's regarding the Transportation Master Plan Mobility CC amendments. And here they come.
Do I put it up or?
It should be coming up soon.
Ready to go.
Good evening, Planning Commission members. My name is Jorge Chavez. I'm a traffic engineer with Public Works. Today's presentation is regarding an amendment to the Roadway Transportation Master Plan. I'm going to provide a little bit of background. On January 30th, 2024, City Council adopted the Roadway Master Plan that was developed with the help of consultant Pape Dawson. The Roadway Master Plan, RMP, identified the proposed beach access road as a C1 collector, project designation 18V. And I'll provide a map right now in a few minutes. On December 11th of that same year, 2024, traffic presented the developer request to delete the beach access road between Texas State Highway 361 and the beach. At the time, this request was presented to Planning Commission as a pedestrian access road, which required a 60-foot right-of-way dedication, but had no defining public improvements. Planning Commission voted for removal, deletion, and of the planned beach access road, which aligned with the developer's request. Later, after clarifying with legal, on February 19, 2025, we presented this item again to Planning Commission. The intent was to clarify and correct the classification and required public improvements. We had been reading information of the past and old documentation, not the current one. As per the current adopted right-of-way master plan, Project 18V is classified as a C1 collector and requires a 60-foot right-of-way dedication with curb and gutter, sidewalk, and a 40-foot roadway to be constructed. At the time, staff recommendation was removal, again, deletion. However, Planning Commission voted on keeping the C1 collector. After that presentation on February 19, 2025, and the recommendation of keeping the C1 collector, the developer intended to design accordingly and with keeping the C1 collector and adhering to the roadway master plan. However, December of this past year, the developer presented challenges with meeting and adhering to the roadway master plan and requested to amend the roadway master plan again. Now the request is, again, removal or deletion. Part of the justification request, the consultant noted several challenges such as the presence of jurisdictional wetlands, drainage concerns, and proximity to another planned beach access road 3. And just for a little information regarding the beach access road, it's approved as part of the Bond 2020 program, which would function as an access point approximately 1/4 mile north of this location. And I'm going to show you a map with all this information. So this is the developer location, as I mentioned, to reiterate and to summarize, the developer is requesting deletion of a C1 collector, Project 18V, highlighted in red. The orange is the developer's site. The red is the proposed C1 collector, again designated Project 18V. The request is for removal. And as I mentioned, their justification is the wetlands. As you can see, the wetlands within the orange, drainage concerns, and proximity to another planned beach access road. And if I move on to the next slide, this gives you an overall view of the access roads in question. So this site is in orange. Project 18V that's being requested for removal is in red. Bond 2020 Project Beach Access Road 3 is in blue. And if you can see, it's far to the right. It's also designated as Project 18AA. And the current existing Beach Access Road 2 is to the far left on the image there. We've spoken to engineering services and gotten information regarding the Beach Access Road 3. Construction contract was approved in December of 2025. It's authorized by council, and just for a little bit more information, improves access for emergency services and just pedestrian access to the beach. Our recommendation, city staff recommendation, is amending the roadway master plan and agreeing with the removal of Project 18V. Oh, they took away my slides. I stand by for any questions.
Okay,
Any concerns.
thank you. Staff, do we have any questions?
What's the distance from Fire Station 16 to that planned development?
I'm not entirely sure.
Is it closer to Port Aransas, or is it closer to, what we call like Padre Island proper?
I think it's closer to Padre Island proper, if I'm correct.
So this would allow emergency services to access this new development quicker, or to the beach 1/4 mile quicker?
Correct, by 1/4 mile. Right now, currently, beach, if I have the opportunity to put the presentation back, there you go, perfect. So Access Road 2, that's Corpus Christi roadway. 2, if we were to provide Project 18V, that's 2.5 miles. But the bond project, Beach Access 3, that's 3 miles over. So, and then from Beach Access Road 3 to Port Aransas Beach Access 1A is 4 miles. So right now, with no projects in between Beach Access Road 2 and Beach Access Road 1A in Port Aransas, it's approximately 7.5 miles of no access. I hope that provides some context.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Just to be clear, so Beach Access Road 3 is a quarter mile from 18D?
Correct. Approximately about 2,706 feet.
Almost a half mile.
Almost, yeah. Approximately.
Yeah.
Looks longer. Yeah. Yeah, I was the one that kind of drove the ship on requesting that this road remain. At the time, whenever we were hearing this item, I had similar concerns that Commissioner Esparza had with regards to emergency access, and then also, traffic patterns and bottlenecks at the various different beach access roads during spring breaks and things of that nature. And so, and also in the vein of protecting citizens of the state of Texas access to their public beaches was one of my primary drivers. Whenever that item was heard, there was no notification requirements for neighboring properties, right? So it was a very quiet room whenever that went down. What was a very loud room was whenever everybody came out to speak in opposition of the development itself. And there were certain things that were explained at that meeting to the crowd of neighbors about, certain, entitlements that the landowner has under the existing zoning and the various different things that could be done with the property. And I think that there was a general understanding at that meeting that, that was going to happen one way or another, the development itself. But the feedback that I got from the neighbors was very negative in opposition to the roadway itself. So after compiling all of that information, I am compelled to allow that that road not be built. But I am interested in hearing what everybody else has to say that has come all this way to come and visit us at the meeting. So,
Understood.
I'm looking at this again. And I'm saying if we go farther to Port A, past 18AA, what's the next beach access to that?
The following beach access road is Port Aransas Beach Access Road 1A.
1A?
And from the blue line to that existing road is approximately 4.5 miles.
The next one would be Access Road 2, and then the other one is a proposed for.
You can speak on that.
So currently, between Access Road 2, your far left, from that road to Port Aransas Access Road 1A, you're looking at approximately 7.5 miles of no access. But with project 18AA or Beach Access Road 3 with the bond, you'll have access at that location, which is from Access Road 2 to there, approximately 3 miles, and from there to Port Aransas First Beach Road, approximately 4.
If we keep this current the way, and not allow this change, how does that change what distance is that going to make a change to? Going to be 2,700 square feet?
Linear feet.
Or linear feet, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you'll just have more access to the beach at, between both existing access roads at the moment.
And the main reason why this was being, we're trying to remove this or trying to take this away was because of the vegetation there?
Yes, according to the engineer's assessment, they have provided information regarding those wetlands that poses to be an issue, and additionally drainage issues, and the fact that there's already a bond project accepted, they feel that that's sufficient enough.
But correct me if I'm wrong here, but nothing's going to be built on those wetlands, right?
As far as I'm concerned, this is very early on. I don't know if Development Services has any additional information.
So this would be if we kept this road there, this would be a minimal impact on the developments that are out there, a much less impact than moving it down.
But it's,
The other plan.
the other one is going to happen anyway.
It's going to happen anyway.
So the question is, do you want two
I see.
Yes.
to further disturb the vegetation in the dunes, or just have the one?
The consultants and engineers and the developers are here to answer any detailed information or questions.
Well, I'll go ahead and, yeah, if
No, I'm good.
if
I'm
no
good.
other questions for the, then I'll go ahead.
I'd like to hear more about what the proposed environmental impact is from the runoff from the road into the wetland.
Just
Go ahead. Oh,
Good evening, Commission. My name is Stephen Grunwald, and I'm with DCCM. We are the developer's engineer. To build that road would cause approximately 0.8 acres of impacts to wetlands. The existing wetlands extend from State Highway 361 to basically just south of that existing lake. So that whole half of the access road would be an impact to wetlands. You'd have to fill wetlands in order to build it. The threshold typically for a nationwide permit is half an acre, so this would exceed that, which would push it into a full-blown permit classification, which takes a long time and looked very carefully by the Corps of Engineers. So, yeah, there'd be huge impacts to existing wetlands, which I know is on the minds of everyone. In addition, the other half of the road, which extends to the beach, would have to breach the ridge dunes, which provide protection from storm surge. I think that was brought up on another item here. You know, right now, the existing dunes there are elevation 22, 23, so you'd be making a significant breach in that to get this roadway through. You know, the roadway could be built up and humped to provide some protection from storm surge, but it would never be as high as the existing dunes, so there'd be a greater chance of flooding from storm surge, particularly to the development directly to our north, which is already there and established, and you know, they can't do anything about the elevations they're at. So I know at the last meeting in December, a number of residents from both that development and the one to our south came and expressed a lot of concerns about having that access road as part of our development. And I'm sure some of them are here tonight that would like an opportunity to speak on that as well. So yeah, there are some pretty big environmental hurdles to cover to build this. So that's another reason for not including it or removing it from the master plan. And I don't know if they could bring that overall bird's eye view up again with the distances to the access roads. We've been talking about the one that's being built to our north, but there's also a proposed access road to our south that's about a little over half a mile. So even if you take ours out, with the one being built to our north and the proposed access road 18T to our south, I mean, there's a little less than a mile in between those two. So that's another reason we feel like removing this would not significantly decrease access and safety to the beach, because between the one to our north, which is being built, and the proposed one to our south, you'd still have two access roads within a mile of each other.
okay. Staff, do we have any other questions for the developer since he's up here? If not, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
At this time, I'll go ahead and open up the public comment for item number 11 and ask anyone if they'd like to come and speak. On item 11, please state your name and city you live in for the record, please.
Good afternoon. Name's Charles W. Crawford, Jr. I'm the president of CCMS, which is Condominium Consulting and Management Services, and we're based out of Port Aransas. For 31 years, we've been the managing agent of Sandpiper Condominiums, and then for 14 years, we've been the managing agent for the Seagull Condominiums. And so collectively, between both entities, there's 210 individually owned units. And so with that said, and also want to Madam Chair and Commissioners, just want to say thank you guys for all your time and efforts and works that y'all guys put in this process, because I do know it's a process, and appreciate what you guys do for the city of Corpus and the citizens of Corpus Christi. As been mentioned, in February of 2025, this came about, and the Commissioners stated, and at that moment in time, that process got removed. But since then, there's been a lot of communication, a lot of positive feedback moving forward, and I think what they're proposing today and the path to take is headed in the right direction. Several owners of the Seagull and Sandpiper were present at the December meeting, at the Commissioners meeting, and just stating, we felt the importance was having a physical presence so you could see us and hear us. If you go around that area, you can tell that everything, how tight, congested that, there's a lot of sea erosion around there and all that. Having another road there, additional traffic, there's a lot of different things there that can make variables. But the main thing I got from that was the process. And I want to thank Andrew Demas and his team, because through this process since December, I've emailed him on several occasions, just follow up. And there's times that I've not had to, and he follows up with us, and I appreciate that, because that's opened that communication up greatly. And so we're just here today in support of you guys, and then the main thing is what they're proposing is the removal of that beach access road. And if you guys can take that in consideration, we would greatly appreciate it. Just to share, Port Aransas just had their access road 1B just opened up once we got the signage for TxDOT. So that's open now, and I believe that's probably about 3 miles away from the Sandpiper and Seagull entryway. So I just wanted to share that with you guys.
That's great.
So
Didn't know that.
just as FYI. But anyway, again, I appreciate you guys giving me time to come up and speak on behalf of the ownership, and I just hope that you guys, if you proceed forward, that removal of that access road, y'all take that in consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to come and speak?
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Casey Patterson. I also here speak on behalf of the property owners of Sandpiper Condominiums and Seagull Condominiums, which is located immediately adjacent to the proposed beach access road. As we talked about in December, most of the concerns from those property owners revolve around their properties are closer than newer developments that take place, and so a road, especially for Sandpiper Condominium homeowners, directly there would create a larger opportunity for any storm surge to create immediate damage to their property in that area. So we appreciate the Commissioner's careful consideration in the past for those traffic and access needs at that time. We also appreciate your willingness to revisit this item now and as circumstances have materially changed. The current Planning Commission packet reflects that Beach Access Road 3, located approximately 2,700 feet north of this location, has now been funded, bid, and awarded to a contractor. So at that point, this project provides a necessary public and emergency access for this section of the coastline, directly addressing the concerns that you raised in 2025. So as a result, retaining this additional planned access point is, in my opinion, no longer necessary and instead creates redundancy, increased traffic safety concerns, and additional impact to sensitive dune systems. So on behalf of the property owners for the Seagull and Sandpiper condominiums, we do respectfully ask that the Commission approve removal of this roadway from the master transportation plan. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to come and speak? If not, then I'll go ahead and close the public. One more, I'm sorry.
Got to be quick.
Sorry.
My name is Mike Broker, B-R-O-K-E-R. I'm one of the owners of a unit in the Sandpiper. Appreciate what y'all are, the due consideration you're giving to all of this. I'll keep it short. I only wanted to add, obviously, I support what is on the agenda to take that road off of the master plan. Agree with all of the objections to it that have been raised, and appreciate that your honesty in it. Only thing I'll add is grandchildren, oddly enough. Had boys and would come down here and mostly stay at the Sandpiper, but and now I have grandchildren, and Casey touched on it. The other beach access for all Texans is important, and access for emergency vehicles is important. The vegetation harm and the sand dunes protecting us from the water, all of that is important. I get it that we're all having to balance that. I just want to add one more thing in, and that's the safety factor. If you go down there now, it is kids in pickup trucks lined up as far as you can see from one end of the horizon to the other. It's spring break, so it's not always like this, but for these 2 weeks it is. And then in the summertime it gets like that too. It becomes a dangerous situation especially if thinking about it's a dangerous situation now, but if you then had access to the beach from 361 right there, right at the edge of where that area of the beach that is most frequently used by the seagull and the sandpiper, it just multiplies the danger that's there. So that's safety for the people on the beach is something that I want that to be emphasized too. Everything else is important. That's to add in too. So appreciate what y'all are doing.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to come and speak? If not, then I'll go ahead and close the public comment and move on for more discussion or a motion.
I agree with staff, and I'll make a motion.
I have one question for traffic before we move forward. Promise it'll be a quick question. When the SEAC was looking at all the master plans, right, and y'all had discussions about, I know there was a lot of amendments to the roadway master plan, and a lot of dedicated roadways got removed from the master plan, right? Correct?
I'm not sure I follow. One more time from the.
When the SEAC, didn't the SEAC, wasn't that the body that reviewed all of the master plans as part of moving towards impact fees and everything else, was to create the master plan with the master CIP and everything else, right? Didn't y'all look at roadway dedication and parts of the urban transportation plan?
I think that might have been before my time.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Maybe Renee knows.
Yeah, I mean, that was looked at.
Sorry, Renee Couture, I'm Assistant Director for Traffic. I think I know where you're going with the question, but to your point, yes.
Yeah.
We did look at it. Did we have eyes on everything like we should?
Right.
Probably not, as Ernie has said before in some of these discussions, right? And
I wasn't calling you out or anything. I was just curious to see if y'all discussed these 18Bs and 19Bs.
some of these things, like I said, it just management and oversight. Some of the low-hanging fruit we were able to grab. But with the resources we had, even with the time, you're looking at, the two for such a vast project. So there are things that we're still looking at and changes that we're open to. For the most part, we're going to be consistent with the plan and what it has. But when there are issues presented to us that we find reasonable and there's enough support and justification, we're open to looking at it.
Okay. Yeah, just a suggestion to maybe look, overall, way down the road or whatever, to kind of look and see where all of these different pedestrian access points were originally laid out, and maybe kind of come up with, some kind of guidance, so that if this happens again, we kind of know how things are going to.
And we're tracking some of those changes and some of the other things that need to be made in the plan. But thank you. Yeah, we'll look into that definitely.
Groovy. Appreciate it. Sorry, Ed.
I got one more question before you. Not for traffic, though. So this still has to go through city council to get, blessed. Are there any other steps that this developer needs to go through, or can he break ground now? Because it's been a long time coming.
Before anybody changes their mind.
So before anybody changes their mind,
good to go.
I'd like to make a motion that we remove the Beach Access Road Project 18B.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to remove the removal of a proposed C1 collector project 18V. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes.
Just for
Moving on to director's report and future agenda items.
just a little bit of clarification as per our director. city council has to approve first before any.
Right, yeah, it's got to get to
Yeah.
first and second reading for you. to-
Yes, that's true. Even though we approve it here, it still has to go to city council to get approved.
Correct.
So I would recommend that y'all still show your support for this, just so that city council is
Can
aware
see
of that.
this. Great. Anything else, Mr. Andrew?
So for director's report, 2 items just to quickly bring up, speaking of painful amendments. We have the Development Services Technical Advisory Group to restart the UDC, our favorite topic, UDC amendment process.
No. I make a motion that we do not do that.
I'm happy to do it unilaterally. So we're calling for members. We have 9 positions to fill. Calling for members. If anyone wants to join, or please put the word out using your social medias and your social groups. We need more. Right now we have 4 engineers. Nothing wrong against engineers, but it's a little type specific right now in the review panel. So we want a diverse group.
When do they need to, when do you need to have this? Because I was thinking maybe you can email it to us so that maybe.
We'll get you set up with an application. Also, hopefully not too many here because we don't want to get into quorum issues. We're focused on meeting the third week of the 13th of April. So April 13th is the week we're hoping to have our first meeting to get the ball rolling again. Just because we don't have enough members yet, we're still going to meet, get the ball rolling, we'll get things moving, and we're hoping to get more members as we move along. We're going to start with Article 8. Now that council luckily approved the trust directions with the trust fund yesterday, we can now get to the rest of the business of Article 8. That's all I have for tonight.
How many people do you need to, on this?
I'm hoping to have 9 of different backgrounds, have 1 commercial builder, 1 residential builder, a commercial developer, a residential developer, an architect, an engineer, and 3 members at large that are hopefully not related to the development industry at all. We want to get that outside perspective.
Okay, everybody heard that. All right, so anything else? If not, meeting's adjourned.
I nominate Mike